So, a reminder where we've come so far. We started with the search for hidden leopards, unexpected signs of God at work in our community. We focus on non-members to see what God's already doing in their lives. Then we talked about a journey. We said for most adults, coming to faith is a journey that takes time, and a key part of that journey is knowing and trusting a Christian.
At that point, you might turn around and say, well, that's all very well, but who are all these people who might want to embark on a journey of faith with us?
And the answer to that is, we're already in contact with them. I guarantee your church has lots of community contacts just by doing what you're already doing. We're going to think later about how we help people on the journey of faith. But for now, we're starting with identifying who those people are. The real question is, are we making the most of the contacts we already have?
We reckon there are 7 main types of contacts that most of our churches already have. I think you might be surprised how many people in your community you're already in contact with. Andre is going to tell us more about these 7 types of contact. You can follow these in your handbook.
Our first type of contact is life events. We're talking baptisms, weddings and funerals. These are big moments in people's lives and we're right there with them at those moments. They are a huge opportunity.
In your resources list, there's a great book on life events by Sandra Miller. She talks about the 2 sorts of contacts we make through life events, so-called warm contacts and wide contacts. Warm contacts are people who come to us for something. They're like people going into a car showroom and saying, I want to buy a car. Warm contacts are people who've initiated the conversation with us, so they're open to what we have to offer. Then you've got wide contacts. They're all the friends and family members who come with the warm contacts, the people who turn up on the day.
Here in Manchester Diocese, if you add up all of our warm and wide contacts, we touch the lives of almost 400,000 people a year. That is just astonishing. If just 1% of those people were drawn into the life of the church, we would have 4,000 new people.
At St Andrew's Radcliffe, we get a lot of baptism inquiries, and for many families, the expectation is to get the baby done and to have a party. But baptism inquiries are an amazing opportunity to draw people into the church family. And we've come to the realisation that the heart of this opportunity lies with the baptism preparation. We used to visit families at home, but we found that they just didn't come back after the baptism service. Now we hold regular baptism prep sessions after our main service. Here they see other church members as well as the leaders of our mid-week groups and our Sunday children's groups. The result is that many return to the services and a number have become Christians. Baptism is an amazing opportunity for church growth, and we found that baptism preparation and giving the church family members the opportunity to make baptism families feel welcome is the key for them starting a journey of faith with us.
Contact number 2 is our toddler groups and primary schools. A survey in 2020 found 3/4 of all parents with children under 5 attended a church-run toddler activity in the past year. I find that amazing. Here in Manchester Diocese, 41% of all our churches run a toddler group, or at least host one. They're usually led by volunteers and run on a small budget. And we have no fewer than 181 of our own church primary schools.
These are a fabulous opportunity. All those young parents wanting support, looking for a sense of community, asking questions about the values they're bringing up their children with. There's a real opportunity to make a toddler group or a local primary school a centrepiece of your outreach.
Well, many of us have lots of missional opportunities that we haven't even realised when it comes to children and family ministry. For example, baptisms. Think about all the people that we might meet there. A toddler group can be an excellent next step for people. And if we can't quite manage a toddler group, then how about maybe arranging to meet for coffee once a week in a coffee shop? Can we offer tea and toast for people who might be dropping off their children at school in the morning? It's all about building relationship. And there might be other contacts we haven't thought about too, like in uniform groups or in schools. If we have a holiday club, are we meeting children and families there who are not part of our regular church family? And do we have things we can invite them to, like a midweek club or family-friendly worship? It's about recognising the opportunities that God has put right in front of us and building those authentic relationships with children and their families and letting them know about a faith to get excited about.
Contact number 3 is our social action projects. Across Manchester Diocese, we have 900 church-based social action projects. That's an average of 3 social action projects for every single church.
Well, our statistics are really impressive. Our churches are serving communities in many ways, through food banks, through lunch clubs, and through night shelters for the homeless. But the really great thing is that loving service is offered without strings attached. People find their way in to the life of our churches by the quality of their relationships with our social and community projects. And it's not just about individuals. A church in Wigan found that it was able to grow a whole small congregation on the basis of its drop-in centre. But whether it's individual or a group, the really important thing is listening and responding. It's never about the hard sell, it is always about relationship.
Contact number 4 is our digital presence, and by that I mean our online services, our social media, our websites and so on. When we went into lockdown due to coronavirus, most of our churches were forced to go online with services, whether we wanted to or not. For lots of us, hosting online worship was a steep learning curve.
The good news is we've reached far more people online than have come to church services in person previously. Maybe because people outside the church found it easier to try it out, to dip their toe in the water. A few weeks into lockdown, a poll showed us something unexpected and brilliant. More than a third of all UK adults aged 18 to 34 had watched or listened to an online service. So the question is, how are you going to continue your digital presence and make the most of it? I made a short video to help churches with their online services. You can find the link in the resources section. And we're developing a full package of training in the diocese to support your church's digital development.
Contact number 5 is our special seasonal services. Of course, the obvious one is our Christmas Carol service, but that's not the only time we can invite visitors to a special service.
There are parade services and services where people bring animals to church. In other words, we have set-piece services it's easier to invite friends and family to. They're a huge opportunity to draw in new people. Here's a snapshot of Christmas in our diocese. Over 70,000 people go to our carol services in civic buildings and schools. Another 55,000 attend carols for the congregation and community, and another 33,000 attend our Christmas Day services.
We at Christmas host a Christingle Crafts just before Christmas Eve. We get all the children in from church and from outside of church locally if they want to come along, and families too. They prepare the Christingles, they come back on Christmas Eve and we're packed out. It's a great crowd puller. And then we have a pop-up nativity in that service, and children come as their favourite nativity characters, which can lead to all sorts of excitements. But again, it's a great one. At Easter, we do a similar day of craft and preparation. And again, those things are brought into the special services over Holy Week and Easter, and we get a good turnout of children for that. And then we have Backpack Sunday in September, when we bless children and their new backpacks and talk about new beginnings. And then other liturgical moments in the year, Pentecost, Corpus Christi, again, we have activities that draw the children in and they take part in the liturgy, whether it's an outdoor procession or something special in the celebration of the Mass. And it all ties in to bring in children within the parish family and outside. Yeah.
Contact number 6 is our high schools and youth groups. Here in our diocese, we have 13 of our own church high schools, not to mention all the links with community schools too. More than 2/3 of all our churches lead worship in a local school, and lots have youth groups too.
Well, young people are magnificent, and we have so many opportunities to engage with them in faith in our schools and in our churches. In our churches, there's opportunity for us to work with them through learning and fun and getting involved in setting up youth groups, social action, worship. There's all kinds of things that we can be involved in. Young people have got so much to offer the church today, let alone tomorrow. And in our high schools, let's get in there and enjoy learning about faith with them through being part of the collective worship, Christian unions, get involved and be a governor. It's really important that we recognise that we've got so much to offer And you don't need a super dry hoodie to do it. Young people are looking for the inner authentic and not the exterior trendsetters.
Contact number 7 is a choir or singing group. This is a massive growth area in churches and in the wider community. The number of British people singing in choirs is higher than it's ever been. An amazing 2.14 million people sing in 40,000 groups. Singing is now the nation's second most popular activity after sport, and a high proportion of those choirs and singing groups are in our churches.
I wouldn't be here if my neighbour hadn't invited me and my sister to join our local church choir when we were children.
One of the luxuries of being director of music at Bury Parish Church is that we have a choir expanding their age ranges from 7 to well into 70s. The oldest person in the choir at the moment has been in the choir for over 60 years, having started here as a chorister. And during those times, quite often it was family members that brought the rest of the family into the church. These days we find we need to interact with schools to bring them in. Quite often those are families who don't normally go to church. One of the interesting things we do here is we do sing in a great number of languages, so it improves for the kids. It helps with things like learning different languages and texts. It's important that we do continue our singing tradition, as it's very much part of our social cohesion, and that is by drawing in as many people into this as possible, we find that the church has grown and the choir has grown.
So there you are, 7 types of contact our churches already have. Chances are your church is already doing lots of these in one way and another. In your handbook, you'll see a tick box for each type of contact. What we're asking you to do is tick the box if your church does at least one activity in that category, and then write down what it is you do. It's okay, you won't have time to note them all down now, but we are asking you to note them down as homework after the event.
We're basically asking you to do a mapping exercise, firstly by yourself in your own handbook, and then after the event together with people in your local church team. The question is, which of these 7 contact activities do we already do to connect with our local community? And all the time, keep a question at the back of your mind. Do we see them just as activities we do or as relationships we're building?
That's such an important question for you to discuss as a local church group. Go through each of the contacts you already have as a church and be honest. How intentional are you about building relationships through that contact? For example, life events. Do we see each baptism, wedding or funeral as an activity we do and then just move on from? Or do we see it as the heart of our outreach, a chance to develop relationships?
I want to be personal for a moment. I was a vicar for 20 years. For most of that time, I was in difficult parishes and growth was a huge challenge. Looking back, most of the new people who joined us started off in one of these 7 contacts. But I can see I spent more time on admin and planning services than I ever did on building relationships. If I could have those 20 years again, I'd spend more time on nurturing those relationships, because relationships are where you find hidden leopards.
And when we say building relationships, we don't just mean the vicar. The church is all of us. It's good to make sure other members of the church community get to know people too. For example, older church members might help at your toddler group and act as mentors to young parents, or they might help you stay in touch with your baptism families. All members of the congregation will start to find hidden leopards as they get to know people.
Of course, it may be that you look at the list of 7 contacts and spot something you don't do. Maybe this is the chance to start something new. Obviously, that will depend on what the local need is and who you've got in your church. Is there somebody with the enthusiasm or skills to start something new?
So here's an idea. Let's say you're in a local church that's not growing and you don't have many existing contacts with your local community. What's the most helpful thing you can do? I'd say the best thing you can do is start a toddler group or a choir. It'll be a great service to your local community, but more than that, it's an ideal place to build relationships.
But whether it's existing contacts or new contacts, the message is the same. Be there for people, get to know them, have a cup of tea with them, talk to people about their lives, because that's when hidden leopards start to appear.